Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of Pink Sock Podcast. Today, we are being joined by Ryan Roxie, but he will be on in a little bit. He's getting his cocktail ready, and he's getting emotionally and physically ready for this podcast. So I would like to give a shout-out to our Patreons, our loyal Pink Socketeers, Gorak, Hot Amy, and Gloria. If you want to become a Patreon today, just visit patreon.com/officialmike.Usenick. You can become a Patreon by going on there, and you could also choose which tier you're going to do. You can do the $1 a month, which gets you a shout out on this show. You can do the $5 one, which will get you a shout out. We'll personally type out a letter for you, and you get first dibs on fan select topics, questions, whatever you want to talk about is your choice. And then we got the $10 one. You get the same things as the $5 one, except you get to have a one-on-one private chat with me and Tony, and you get to have the VIP access to the backstage area on select episodes. So, without further ado, we have the one, the only. You guys are asking in the chat, who the hell is this guy? Well, we get to find out today. Please welcome my buddy, your friend, Ryan Roxie. How you doing, brother?
Hello, human teleprompter, Mike Pink Sock Usenick. You have so many names at this point. It's amazing.
Pink Sock, human teleprompter.
Yeah, they just keep going.
So when we talked about this whole pink sock thing, you said that Marilyn Manson told you what that was.
Unfortunately, he was the one that unleashed the definition. Well, he did the same thing that I do. By the way, hello, everybody in the chat, by the way. Thank you for sticking around, coming here, supporting the Pink Sock. I will tell my Pink Sock story now. Yes, it was on a tour bus, and it was Marilyn's tour bus that we were all on. And Marilyn had this assistant who also was named Ryan. So we were just sitting there talking, and somehow it got to the subject of sex, which is shocking, being around Marilyn Manson and then talking about sex.
That happens?
A very sexual being, Marilyn. So somehow the word kept getting tossed around, pink sock. And I was like, what is that? And he goes, oh, don't Google it. And then literally that night, when someone tells you not to do something, of course,
you do it.
Of course, when you're on the road, someone says, don't Google it. And you go back to your hotel room and you know that you're staying over the night and all you have is free internet on the hotel Wi-Fi. So they can't track your IPS or DNS number of what searches you're doing. You can go down that rabbit hole of pink sock. And apparently it's kind of like a rabbit hole, but
did you look up
rabbit hole?
Did you do Google Images or did you just look up the definition?
Unfortunately, I did do images first, and then worst was blue waffle right after that. So I don't know why we got off on such a banging start with pink socks and waffles, but that should be if you ever have a sister show or sort of a show that goes on.
We are sponsored by Blue Waffle Syrup.
Yeah. Blue waffle should be the complement, sort of the dessert to your main course, which is pink sock.
Well, I had to start it off like that because I'm trying to not do a typical podcast because you get a lot of people. It's like, you play guitar for Alice. What's he like? No, I start off with, so Pink Sock. Tell me your Pink Sock story.
Definitely the first time I've ever had that question posed to me so early in an interview. So, I was expecting it later, but right out of the gate, I give you lots of credibility for that. That just upped you in the podcast game. All right.
I'm the Howard Stern of YouTube. Thank you.
Ooh, wow. A lot of people trying to claim that throne these days, aren't they? Yeah.
I got the hair.
Yeah, you have the whole image of a presenter. It doesn't necessarily have to be podcast. You could be behind a microphone. You could be emceeing television shows. You just have that. You're a character. And I think people like that. I mean, I don't know. You might be a little bit too young to remember. When I was growing up, there was a guy named Wolfman Jack. And if you Google Wolfman Jack, it's not going to be as shocking as Pink Sock, folks. Not going to be as shocking as Blue Waffle. But Wolfman Jack was sort of like the DJ personality. Like if I was to be, I guess, Ryan Seacrest or Casey Kasem or one of those sort of more white bread, hey, how you doing type of guys, with the In the Trenches sort of podcast, you would be that alternative sort of dark Wolfman Jack. Sounds almost like a wrestler.
I'll have to look him up, but I thought he was a wrestler, like Wolfman Jack versus Andre the Giant. So did you first find out about Blue Waffle when Manson told you about Pink Sock? Or was that something? It was
shortly thereafter. It was sort of a phase of my life, I guess I'd like to consider. I found a lot of things touring with Manson. I don't know if you were able to check out the Ori podcast that we did with on In the Trenches last week, but we were reminiscing about that Marilyn Manson tour. And I found out a lot of things. I did find the same thing that Ori found, that absinthe is not an alcohol. It's nothing to be really toyed with. I mean, you have to kind of take it seriously. And I guess the certain grade of absinthe that Marilyn would have, because he'd get the, sort of ordered in from Romania,
of course,
I think it was single barrel brewed in some sort of castle and on a fortnight with a full moon. But the thing is, his absinthe was apparently hallucinogenic worthy. So if you drank enough of it, you could start to hallucinate.
So it's liquid acid.
It's a weird thing. I've had two experiences with absinthe. Actually, my second experience was with Marilyn, and that was quite pleasant because I didn't drink too much. I just kind of sipped on it the whole time, and sort of enjoyed the whole entire evening of just hanging out in his world, because his world is it's a physically dark place, but he's quite jokingly, he's quite jovial, mm-hmm. I guess you could say the word. I mean, in a weird off sense way. He's basically off kilter in a lot of ways. He's got a twisted sense of humor, which I kind of enjoy. I really do.
You got to enjoy that.
My first experience though with absinthe was back in late 90s. When I first joined Alice, like 97, mm-hmm. we did a tour with Rat. John Corabi was opening up. I remember that. And also Ronnie James Dio's band was playing, and they were great. Ronnie James Dio was great night after night. And then Alice would close the show. But we did this thing in Sweden where we played all the way up to the North Pole. This place like Luleå, like so north. But it was a Friday night in Luleå, and our crew wanted to initiate another crew member into the gang by having him just drink absinthe. So they made him do shots of absinthe. This is a sipping sort of thing that you kind of take slowly, and you kind of like enjoy the experience. And if it goes down into that depth of, what is it called when you're psychedelics, then they're fine. But no, he took shots like you would take shots like whiskey.
It's nothing that you like shotgun. You don't like.
By the halfway into the third shot, pretty much all the absinthe was all over the bar and all over the rest of the crew. So I guess their sort of initiation backfired, because it wasn't our crew member that was getting initiated that got doused with vomit. It was the actual crew, but he ended up getting carried out of there that night. And also that night, it was memorable because I remember John Corabi getting into a huge gang fight. It was one of those city brawls because you have to understand northern Sweden, when it gets on a Friday and Saturday night back in the late 90s, there's one thing that you do. I mean, because geographically speaking, it's away from all the good drugs, and it's good away from anything that's really,
they were social distancing before
illegal. So the thing that's legal is alcohol, and they take it to excess. And on that Friday night in particular, ended up, I think something was said. I honestly think it was Steve Toth, our tour manager, that said something to the doorman. And the next thing you know, there's just fists flying, and then other people coming in from across the street. And John Corabi, in all his scarves and dreads and full blunder, he was throwing down, man. I was kind of doing the duck and roll. I was like, hey, I'll see you guys later. This is me. Hey, we still? Oh, no.
He's still fighting.
So there you go.
I know Corabi will take this as a compliment, but he's always reminded me of like a modern day like Steven Tyler, with the way he dresses and his singing style.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, all I imagine is him just throwing down, choking the guy with his scarf and shit.
He reminds me of a cross between, I guess, a modern day Steven Tyler and Michael Landon from Little House on the Prairie.
I see that.
He's kind of like, sort of he would own the house on Little House on the Prairie and sort of be the caretaker. He is sort of the caretaker. I love it.
I gotta say though, I get a lot of flack for this, but my favorite Motley album was the one he was on.
That's a lot of people think that, I personally, for me, no, because Too Fast for Love changed my life. I mean, that first album, I was there when it came out on Leather Records. It was on before Elektra Records put it out. They had an independent label called Leather Records, and that album had a couple more songs on it. And I remember one of my buddies turning me on to this. He said, "Look at this dude's hair," and of course it was everybody's hair on the album cover, same album cover, but the thing was that I saw that band on that tour, Motley, at the Keystone Berkeley on like a Tuesday night in front of about maybe 150 people. And to this day, I remember, all the production, the songs, the energy of just, a small club crowd in this band that was just about ready to bust open. And he almost busted open the girl that I was going out with at the time. He actually busted open her head because Nikki hit the top of her head with he had a Gibson Thunderbird. It was before he had his custom guitar, whatever it is right now. It was an actual Gibson Thunderbird, and he plopped it right on the top of her head. And she didn't bleed, but she definitely had a bump.
Fucking crazy.
I think there was a lot of bumps back that night.
The first time I saw Motley was during their farewell tour, and like Vince Neil was not on that night. He was.
Wait a second. Are you talking about the tour? I'm not familiar with that tour. What was that? Who opened up? I heard it was great.
The Radskins opened up. No,
you're exactly right. It was the Radskins featuring Troy Patrick Farrell. Yeah.
And then some female jazz musician, Alice Cooper, I think was her name.
Yeah, that's true. No, so that was the first time you saw Motley. Wow. Yeah. Was that the first time you saw Alice Cooper?
No.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to interview you, Pink Sock. You're going to have to interview me. I'm sorry. I just turned in. Do you see how the way I flipped that a little bit? I started interviewing you, and I go, "Wait a second, Roxie.
This isn't pull back. This isn't the Todd Dammit podcast. It's not."
That was a good podcast, by the way. I've become a big fan of Todd Kearns since that podcast.
Speaking
so much respect
for those of you that are tuning in, which are mostly your fans, so they already know, but. Check out In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie. That's his podcast. Look at that. And he also has Mike Fasano on this Tuesday.
Coming up next Tuesday, man. Yeah.
Do you have any
Can
other
you believe
guests?
we've already done? Go back to that overlay there. Can you believe we've already done 7,039 episodes? Can you believe that? It seems like it doesn't. It seems like this just happened overnight.
Right.
But no, our 30 are legitimate because we started off with 7001. So this is going to be our 39th episode.
And live from Cameo, we got Ryan.
Hey, look at that, man. Cameo's been a little light lately, folks. I understand. But it's all right. I started it because for those of you familiar with Cameo, you can, if you're having an upcoming bar mitzvah or maybe an upcoming, I don't know, a circumcision. I don't know, whatever you want to do. A brisk, would that be called that?
A bar mitzvah.
I did that, a bat mitzvah as well. I do a lot of Jewish ceremonies with the Cameo, but the thing is, I only signed on to it because Alice Cooper did, and I almost did it as a bit of a joke. But then a few people ordered it, and a few more people ordered, and I was like, it's not so much of a joke anymore, is it? It's quite nice. And so there you go.
Do you have you ever done like somebody quitting their job? That would be a good one.
You know what? I'll do one right now for free. All right, everybody, and then you can just I'll have the pink pod sack. Pod
sack. That's the other one. That's the other one I'm doing.
The pink pod sack is basically going to be my interview with Mike Fasano on Tuesday. No, but I'll do like a cameo right now.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, what's happening now?
Hold on 1 second.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay. Okay. Hello, insert name here. Hope you're having an amazing Jewish ceremony, whichever one it might be. A bat mitzvah, a bar mitzvah, and a brisk. Those are the only three I really know. But whatever else you're doing, enjoy your time. Enjoy the ride. Let me think if I can think of any more cliches. If I had a Guitar Hero, I'd play Poison. How about that? Be good. Bye. See, now that's basically a free cameo that you get. Of course, when I do a real cameo, I shave. And it's the same thing.
Yeah, you didn't even shave for this occasion. It's awesome. I get the raw and uncut.
You're not supposed to shave for Pink Sock, man. Look at you. I haven't shaved for a few years, man.
Actually, I just shaved a couple weeks ago.
Damn, you're a hairy individual.
Oh, thank you. Can I get that as like a sound bite and just have that as a ringtone? You're a hairy individual.
No, you can actually order it on Cameo. That's a whole special section that I have. I'll do ringtones like that.
So
you're a very hairy individual. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So do you have any guests lined up for the future of In the Trenches that you would like to talk about?
Well, we have some good ones coming up. We really do. There's some special ones that I said last week. I gave a little bit of a teaser out at the end of the Orianthe podcast where I said we're going to start upping the production and maybe being able to get finding a way to get some of these folks that really, really are into the guests we bring on, have them involved in the show a little bit more in a different way. So we're working on certain things like that. But I can say there's a couple great drummers coming on the show in the near future because for one, it's not that they're just great musicians. It's that I've found that drummers have this really intense work ethic. I mean, hopefully Mike Fasano comes on, he doesn't disappoint me and says, yeah, I'm pretty lazy. But no, I feel that he's going to he's going to kick off that whole inspirational work ethic because I know Mike and he's got a really strong work ethic. But we also have another drummer coming up in the next couple of weeks that named Kenny Arnoff, who's played many, many records so many more records that you have heard, but you probably didn't think or know who the drummer was. And Kenny Arnoff has definitely been one of those big influential guys. So he's one of the ones that we've looking forward to as well. And I put some feelers out there for some other guests. I think it's a good idea to possibly have Tommy Hendrickson on again because it's been a while. The show's grown since the last time he was on, and think of all the things that he's sort of had built up to complain about. He's got so many things to complain about and get angry about. So I think it's time definitely for Tommy Hendrickson.
The time has passed. It's time for that.
No, he's great. He's been, like we've talked last week, and he's been in his studio working his ass off. So that's kind of what I want to pick his brain with, is what you're doing. What's the creative process that you're going through, especially not just in these times, but normally, what's the difference? And now that there are these times, have you given up, or are you going all in? And you hopefully, and I'm pretty sure the guys and girls that I've been interviewing are all in on this. They're all in on the creative process of creating new stuff, better stuff, and not letting all the reality of us not being able to tour get us too low. I'm not going to lie. It kind of sucks. Obviously it sucks for all of us, folks,
but we got to make a positive, because if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have met half the people that we've met, because you'd be on tour. You wouldn't have time to do it as much. And
you might not have started this podcast. You might not have.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah. I was actually, I was talking to Adika before this started. He wished you luck on your, no. I love it. That's good. That's good with me. That's good with me. It's fine with me. Well, because he's watching right now. He just wants to hear his name. I told him I'd say his name but he wished you luck on the podcast today. But we were both talking about how we might, if this didn't all have gone down the way it did with COVID and all that stuff, and having this total sort of shutdown, who knows if we would have had a chance to build up our audiences the way we have. Who knows if I would have been able to put the time into it, because it's not so easy to, obviously, when you build the team that I've been able to build around me, with Dave and with Robby and with Scotty, and especially, having Vic as that producer in the trenches, we've been able to build something. But it's not so easy to do if you're in a hotel room, on one night, and maybe there's a day off, maybe there's not, so thank goodness that we've been able to sort of come up with a system and some sort of routine that when we do get to go back out on tour and do what we love to do, we'll still be able to do this and hopefully get a bunch more people excited as well. So, but it's up to the chat as well. I mean, guys, this is up to you guys to build this up, whether it's Mike and Pink Sock, or whether it's in the trenches with Ryan Roxie. It's you guys are the ones spreading the word, and it is, becoming an organically grown thing. So weed is not the only thing that we want organically grown. We want our podcasts organically grown as well.
That is perfect. We don't just want our weed organic. You should run for president. What about that?
Is that going to be my, what?
That's your slogan.
So I was looking for a piece of merch that I could sort of, this is vote for Roxie.
I got to say
on the thing, I said, hey, look at the stickers. Everyone saw the stickers.
I got to say though, I loved your Star Wars 77 shirt, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
That was a gift. Yeah, that was a gift. Oh God, man, I'm gonna forget the name, because I can see his face, his front row. See, Tommy would remember his name. No, I would normally remember his name, but I'm like, he has a nickname for him. But he gave me that shirt at the end of the 2019 tour. It was just recently, and I think the first time I got it, damn it. It was not long before the tour ended. So I cut it up. I do what I do with my I mean, I love big butts. I love big butts, and I cannot lie. No, I love big collars. So I always, if it doesn't have a big collar, like I would feel claustrophobic in your collar. Even though you have a nicely stretched out one, I would still feel a little bit like
I'm nicely stretched out. Yeah. But yeah, it's a nice shirt. It's actually
it's a little bit hypocritical, because I wear a choker, but I don't like big collars. Is that weird? I should talk to my therapist about that. That'll be definitely something that I talk to my therapist about.
After this show, you're like, I need to see my therapist.
Well,
so is there any sponsors that you would like to get in the future for your podcast?
Honestly, I want people to play guitar, and if I can get some musical related sponsors that'll help get more people and inspire people and allow people by giving them stuff to get them to play more guitar, then I feel those are the right sponsors for us. I mean, obviously, you know, the world we live in and the times that we're in, as far as, you know, looking for capital to put into the show to make it better, there's not a whole lot of sponsors that we ain't going to take. I mean, let's be honest. All right. So, I mean, unless it's something that's hateful and totally non-positive, but well, maybe. Wow, did you set me up for that one? That was a softball and you just set me up. So are you guys our sponsor? Is that your dream sponsor?
No.
Okay. I actually think that a really good sponsor that we would take on right away, and I do endorse it, is my brother-in-law's coffee company called Faber Smith Coffee. And I know that he's not available throughout the rest of the world, but if there's anyone listening in South Africa right now, and I'm not, you know, I'm throwing it out there. If you're from South Africa and you're listening to it, go check out Faber Smith Coffee, because they're growing at such a exponential rate that everything is going big for him. And I might be only a matter of time where they could be a good sponsor. A nice, you know, a nice coffee, something to wake up. And then, of course, I like my little cocktail. I got to get my little, it's 5 or 6 o'clock somewhere. And
you're trying to beat a deacon of the coffee sponsor. I see.
Well, what you am I, or did I have him beat all along? I'm not sure.
Speaking of coffee, you're a big coffee guy, right?
I am a big coffee guy. I mean, because it's sweet. A lot of people don't realize that Sweden prides itself in coffee, so much so that there were no Starbucks here until just a couple of years ago, because they were so snobby about it. A little too snobby, I must say, because I was like, come on, man, you got to get your Starbucks here. And they were like, and I actually wanted to invest in one because but they wouldn't franchise one out. And then finally one opened up by the airport, and they just started slowly growing as they do. And boom, now they're a bunch of them. And, but yeah, Swedes are into their coffee. Why do you ask?
Have you ever heard of Kupak?
No, that sounds...
It is the most expensive coffee in the world. It is $55 a cup.
Where's that at? Do I snort it?
No.
I never had snortable coffee, but
no.
Price range sounds right. Okay.
Kupak, I believe, comes from South America. It comes from a wildcat. This wildcat eats coffee beans and then
he poops them out.
Yeah.
And then, yes, I have heard of that. That's like a Joe Rogan thing that he's like, you know, kind of gone down there and sifted through the excrement of a bobcat. And then
would you try it?
Well, yeah, why not? I've tried a lot of things. When we were in Tel Aviv a couple of years ago with the Alice band, we went to this like downtown, you know, we're in Israel for the first time I'd ever been there. And we had done the Jerusalem sort of, you know, whole all day traveling hang, and we saw the Wailing Wall. We saw all this cool stuff. But then afterwards, instead of going off to one of these nice record company sort of Alice Cooper nice dinners, we went to a sort of place that was kind of in the ghetto at this butcher shop. But the thing about the butcher shop is that's where the guy sold all the meat for the entire city of Tel Aviv. So it was all about, you know, it was luxury. It was like super, super, super high end. But the guy that was cooking the food he owned the place. He said, look, you can get a, you know, a beef loin, you can get a filet anywhere. I'm not going to give you that. I want you to try the other parts, because we served the whole cow here. So I actually had cow brains.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I tried that. I was pretty brave that night. I'm not usually all that brave, but I did try it. Very how you say, it's kind of like a slurpy, kind of chewy, very kind of chewy and slurpy, kind of like I guess it would be like really
like a soup,
a soft oatmeal type of thing. But that and then sweetbreads as well. That and sweetbreads are basically the throat muscles and stuff like that. It's sweetbread sounds so much more appetizing than what it was. That wasn't so good.
So you would have been really good on Fear Factor. You would have been
that night. I would have. Afterwards, I wouldn't have. I don't know what happened that night, but I ended up, I ended up co-managing Amber Williams, who Amber, if you guys know, in the Alice Cooper camp, she runs the VIP, Shep Gordon's, daughter and stuff. And she's sort of adopted daughter and stuff. So she basically,
yuck.
I ended up managing her because there was this other chick there that was quite, kind of buff and kind of crazy and a little bit kind of loud, and she was talking about how well she can arm wrestle. She's like, I could beat anybody here in an arm wrestling. And I had Amber on my side. I go, Amber, let's make some money, because I know people don't think you're as strong as you are, but you're the strongest human being I've ever seen,
So you go
like pound for pound. So I go, I know someone that could beat you. And she's like, who, you? I'm like, no, not me. My ass. You'll kick my ass, right? But her, Amber, she goes, oh, she's so small. She's easy. I go, okay, $50. And she goes, you're on. So she did it. And of course, Amber just went wham and just got her down. And she goes, double or nothing. Wham. So she ended up, losing $100. So it's great.
Jesus, that's a good story.
It was, never let the truth get in the way of a good story, but that was a true story. And it happened all at that Tel Aviv sort of ghetto butcher shop, because we were eating cow brains and these other types of weird delicacy parts of the cow. I didn't eat the cow balls, so I think they were offered, but
that's Rocky Mountain oysters right there, buddy.
Yeah, not into it so much. But we were sitting, I remember, on these long picnic tables. So yeah, I mean, and everybody in the band was there, so that was cool.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop up questions from the people that are listening.
People have questions? Come on now.
It's called the Pink Sock Talk. We're going to have a little bit of a pink sock
I like
talk.
it. You got segments going. Pink Sock Talk. Say that 5 times and you'll see in the reflection of the mirror, and you'll probably see Steph and Adika in the chat room. Oh my God, it's happened.
We love you, Adika, and Coffee Talk's been going great, except for on Tuesdays when In the Trenches is going on.
There you go, Mike. There you go. Dig it in, baby. Dig that knife right in softly.
And for that pain, you could buy some Preparation H.
Your new sponsor.
But yeah, the first question we have is from our dear friend Kanak.
We love
One,
Kanak.
2, 3.
What?
Oh, it popped.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, why did it keep going away? Hold on.
I don't know.
1, 2, 3. Ryan Roxie is in the house. Just know it's Pink Security. Hey Ryan, what's up? And my question to you is, when are we gonna see Bianca Roxie on In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie? And the second question, when are you ever gonna read those 3 books? Take care. Have fun.
Oh my God. That's funny, man. Congratulations for having a complete musical segment. You will be hearing from my copyright infringement. I'm sure YouTube's already put something out. I hope this is available in all the other countries right now, because they're quick these days. Damn it.
They are quick.
That's very cool, Kanak. Thank you very much for that. And you know what? Bianca keeps asking the same thing. When am I going to be a guest on In the Trenches? And I said she should come up with her own show, because she'd have more followers on it anyway, right out of the gate. But that's a good question, because we should have each other on, especially if it's just us, like having one of our discussions. I like to say husband and wife discussions are a good word for, like, sort of a little bit of a cat fight, a little bit of a dog fight about nothing. You know, we have like these little tiffs and arguments and eep. You know, she says I'm talking shit, and I say no. I just want to really explore and see the other possibilities. I want to see how many possibilities there are to this argument. So she's probably right, but yeah, at one point, I don't know. Would you guys really want to just see Bianca talk back and forth?
It turned into an argument, and then she's like,
it'll turn into definitely a discussion, a deep discussion. She might be listening right now. I'm not sure. And the 3 books in question, and that's when I do my Free Riff Friday, I turn my camera around so that I do it for you people. So because Instagram hasn't fixed that guitar where it looks like a lefty. Because like, look, we're on this show, and when I have my guitar here, it looks normal, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. For some reason, when I do Instagram Live, it doesn't do that. So I have to turn the camera around. And the 3 books are Steven Tyler's autobiography, Nelson Mandela's autobiography, and then there's another one called The Clients Now, because I'm looking at it right now. And those 3 books, I haven't read any of them, but they do make one hell of a sort of lift for when I put my camera on there. Or you have to use it with lighting. So that's what I use it for. And sometimes, honestly, if I'm too short, because I am a little bit small, and I need to sit on them when I do certain, when I have certain guests. Because the first rule of thumb there, Mike, in a podcast, successful podcast like ours, is that you have to be, you should always be a little bit above your guest, right? Sing. There it is. Nice shirt, by the way. What's the Sex, Drugs, and What?
Rock on the Range.
Wow. Was that a festival, right?
Yeah, it's a festival in North America, which you guys never played yet.
I thought we did. You know what? I called out. I said, I thought that's where I met the guitar player from the Struts when he was on the show. And he's like, no, it wasn't. It was he and I was like, no, I was certain it was. And he called out another one that was like that. It was in South Carolina. Because where's Rock on the Range?
Columbus, Ohio.
Damn it. All right. So he was right and I was wrong. And see, this is something that I'd have a discussion with Bianca about, and I'd swear that I was right.
Well, Alice doesn't play a whole lot of North American festivals, I've noticed. So he usually does like over in Europe and stuff festivals.
Yeah, but we did do what was the big one that starts with the B that's in like the Midwest for the longest time. It wasn't.
Can't think of it.
We played, okay, someone in the chat's going to know about it because we did that Born This Way by
Lady Gaga.
And what was it called? What was that festival called? I'm waiting. Bonnaroo. Yeah,
Bonnaroo.
It was Bonnaroo.
Okay.
So we had played Bonnaroo. That was a good one to do. And we have done the Buffalo Chip and what's that, Sturgis, a bunch of times. So those 2 were kind of like the staples, but you're right. We've never done, which is the one in Southern California that's very popular.
You're stumping me now on festivals.
I am, but that's why But you were the one that mentioned festivals, Mike. It's your show. You don't go into these subjects if you don't know it.
No. What I've noticed is I see festivals announced, and it's very rare that I see like Alice announced for them, unless it's like Bonnaroo or festivals like that.
Yeah, but I'm talking the one that's the most popular festival that all the sort of down in like it's in the desert. And it's not Burning Man, but it's in California, and I'm waiting for someone in the chat.
You guys should just play Burning Man. Is
that really a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Well, I think she wrote it in Japanese, but damn it.
I don't have
Google Translate right now.
We have our answer.
Yeah. I knew it was that, actually. Coachella.
Yeah, that one.
Of course, I say it, and then Vic types it in, right after I say it.
I was going to say Ozfest, but they haven't had one in a while.
Oh, yeah. Or which was the Vans one? The Vans Warped. Yeah, that was a good. I think Mike Fasano was on the Warped tour. I'm gonna have to ask him about that on the upcoming podcast.
With Mike Fasano, now that I think about it, I might have seen Tiger Army and not realized it.
Maybe. I remember, but this is even before. I think he was in another band. Maybe it was Tiger Army early days. But again, that's one of my questions. Thank you. You've just opened up a whole new discussion, with the mic, the sack on the sack podcast. What did I say? The pod sack?
The pod sack. So the next question we have from the listeners is from Kinga Anna.
All right, is it as much of a production as Canax?
No.
Well, come on, man. If you're going to do it one, you have to start there, and then you got to raise the bar. What's up with that? Oh, here we go. What are the 3 songs that influence you most in your musical life, music career? Damn.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
That is. Well, I do say that, and that I said it on the podcast when we had Rick Nielsen on, I do say that Surrender is probably one of the best well-written songs, and I've been trying to rewrite it for over 30 years, and I haven't been able to do it yet. But I think Surrender is one of those songs that influenced me. So many of Cheap Trick songs influenced me, but that one in particular, even though it's like a very popular one, it's still just so magically constructed.
I figured all 3 would be Cheap Trick.
No. The other one, and I've talked about it before. The other one I think is one of the best sort of formulas for a song, because you don't see it so much. It blends classical, it blends pop, it blends rock. That's SOS by ABBA. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really good one. And wow, you really have to stump her on the third one when you just say individual songs. Because I could say albums, but then I go, but either something off of News of the World, because that whole entire album was a huge album for me, and that was a Queen album. So it's hard to pick a favorite song of Queen. But when it starts out with "We Will Rock You," then to "We Are the Champions," and then to "Sheer Heart Attack," and then to was it "Sleeping on the Sidewalk" at that point? "Who Needs You?" "It's Late" is like one of the. I think that ends side 1. Can you believe it? I'm remembering what the vinyl, track listing was of that. And I'm sure.
Did you know Queen was the first band to release a thrash metal song?
I did not know that. Would that be Sheer Heart Attack, or what was it?
It was I got the lyrics in my head. Stone Cold Crazy was the
Stone Cold Crazy.
That was considered the first thrash song because of the guitar riff.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you could pick any song off of News of the World, and you're right, Vic. It's one of the coolest album covers and inside spreads of an album ever. Well, although, think about it, man. This is in a day and age where they came up with so many cool vinyl, like where you'd open it up and you'd have that cool open like packaging. I thought one of the best packaging records was 3 Dog Night, Hard Labor. Actually came with a actual doctor's file that had all the credits in the doctor's file, but that had a bunch of cool stuff.
Or the Cheech and Chong. Remember the Cheech and Chong album that came
with
out?
Paper?
Rolling Papers.
Yeah. And I also remember Kiss Love Gun came in with at least the copy I had, came with a little cutout little gun and a thing that said "POW," and I hung it up as a mobile in my room.
The original School's Out unfolded and looked like a school desk.
Yeah. Just the packaging back in those days that's why we tried to do a little bit of a nod to that and a sort of throwback with Imagine Your Reality by having the 4 different album covers, which eventually became 5. And it was done by Bellyache Records, and Scotty did a great job of packaging that. So there it is. I'm glad to see that everyone is into
loves Queen. They're
loving Queen. Yeah, we are definitely on a Queen love trip. It was so cool after all these years to be able to play. Well, basically our last show of 2020 with those guys. One of our last shows was 2020 at that Australian Sydney Stadium, and that was quite special gig, to do, because remember way back when, folks, when bushfires in Australia were our biggest problem.
So did you ever
years ago?
Did you ever get to see Queen with Freddie?
I never did get to see Queen live with that lineup. No, I never did, because I saw some. I was able to see some cool bands, but that was not one of them. My first show though, I did see Jackson 5 when when little Michael Jackson was, actually black.
Is that gray hairs I'm seeing, Ryan? Is that you're starting to show your age? Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm not starting. I'm well into showing it. Trust me.
Before I get back to fan questions, I did have one that I just thought of. Whenever you list your favorite songs, your favorite albums, did you grow up an Alice Cooper fan, or is that just a big act that you ended up playing for?
I actually became an Alice Cooper fan later in life, not in the traditional sense of it being, I grew up listening to his albums. I still was young. I was still as young and dumb. I was about 17 when I moved to Los Angeles. All right. Mm-hmm. And for those of you that are parents and you have kids, just let them go. I highly recommend it. Get them out. They have to learn sometime. But I was living in Hollywood, and I had a roommate named Johnny Holiday, who now fronts a band called Star Star. And it was my two roommates, actually, Johnny Holiday and Jeff Morose, who are famous in their own right. But Johnny was a huge New York Dolls fan, Johnny Thunders fan, Alice Cooper fan, and all these acts that I just mentioned. He was the one that kind of turned me on to them for the first time. So I remember hearing Cold Ethel for the first time, and I was like, oh man, I just had him keep repeating it. Please repeat that. Please repeat that. And he loved it. The fact that he had really, turned me on to a band that I hadn't really been exposed to as much.
That's my favorite song about necrophilia. It's my favorite.
Of all the songs about necrophilia, it's definitely one of them. Yeah. What's funny is that, and then back in the day, a couple years later, I remember going down to, I think it was Long Beach Arena or somewhere down there in Orange County to go to shows, because I didn't really drive so far to shows. If you were able to get someone that had a car at that point and promised that they wouldn't get too drunk and get too fucked up so that they could make it all the way back from Orange County, you kind of said, okay, fine. Stupid shit. Before Uber, folks, before any of that stuff, before maybe common sense, we went down there, and I remember seeing Faster Pussycat open up for there was three bands. It was Faster Pussycat, Alice Cooper headline, and there was I think it was Motorhead. So Faster Pussycat, Motorhead, Alice Cooper. And folks, it was the same show that Alice Cooper put on, maybe slightly more production, because he did. I think he had Kane Roberts at that point, or maybe it was, I'm not sure exactly. It couldn't have been Kane. Could have, might have been.
Kane was 88 when he joined.
Okay. So. Well, it was definitely a big production. And I remember it being all the same shtick, though. It had this, Alice got his head cut off. He hung himself, and there was a monster on stage, and it was all that
shit.
Yeah, all that theater, and so it was cool. A couple years later, then I ended up joining the band, and we started doing all that stuff and doing it to this day, and we will do it again.
So the next question we have is actually from Kath, who is actually producing the show today. Give her a nice.
Oh, nicely done, Cathy Grant. Is Cathy Grant behind the?
She's in charge of the comments.
Okay.
Hey Ryan, hope you're having a good pink sock experience. I got a question for you. Okay, you've got one day, unlimited amounts of money. You can go anywhere, do anything, eat anything, drink anything. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? What are you going to eat? What are you going to drink? Oh, and this is Alice, and she wants to know, what's your favourite cheese? Have a good show.
What's my favorite cheese? Why would a cat want to know what my favorite cheese is? My favorite cheese is my wife's worst favorite or least favorite cheese. How about that? That's a clue. But I like that. I like those really moldy, smelly, creamy, like brie or blue. All right. I mean, and if you can get rotten blue brie cheese, even better, right? Some sort of hybrid of that.
I'm with you on that. I love gorgonzola cheese.
Yeah. See, that's it's all moldy and shit. So it's kind of pink sockish, kind of blue waffle-ish. There's a theme forming with that. So to answer that question and get it out of the way, just because I know that later I'll probably have a discussion with my wife about the cheese. and then it'll go on from there, or maybe I'll save it for the podcast episode. The other thing is, where would I go? Man, it's a tough one, guys. Because
what would you drink and what would you eat?
Yeah.
That's the rest of the question.
Could I do certain things at certain places? Because there's certain meals at certain places that you just feel so good at. Because I mean, there's this one sushi place that we love to go called Katana. It's right on Sunset Boulevard, and I've been there many years with my buddy Keith. And wait, come on in. Hey. So I think B's going to come in and say hello, unless she's, you know what she's doing? She's cleaning the house because I'm having some dudes over tonight. I'm having my guys' night out. She's actually saying, you should vacuum the house. And I said, well, they're guys. They're not going to care. She's like, but I care. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, the real guest showed up. Where's Bianca at?
So the thing is, Katana, I definitely have the meal there because it's the best sushi place. It's right on Sunset. We've had so many good times there. I would probably want to go to. Oh, thanks, babe. Everyone wants to say hello to you, and they want you to make an appearance and just say hey, because you know that I told them that your favorite cheese was brie, or blue cheese or
Gorgonzola.
Yeah, but you. I hate blue. You want to just say hello to just everybody on the pink sock? Well, you want to make an appearance? She's going out. She's leaving right now.
Pink sock. I'm done.
That's Mike. You know Ike. Yeah.
Hi. I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
There you go.
Good.
She can't really hear you because I got the headphones in.
My ears are better than yours, so I can sort of hear.
Her ears are better than
My
yours.
Yeah. There you go.
She got
That's
her
just one of
earphones.
the many topics that we get to discuss on a nightly basis. Bye, baby. Thank you for cleaning up the house for boys that don't really care. But anyway, that's cool. What was I say? I was going to go to travel.
Yeah, where you're
My
traveling.
eyebrows look weird on this podcast. What's wrong with this? My eyebrows.
It's that filter you're using.
Yeah, it must be. Have you? Wow. I'd probably go eat at Katana, but then I'd jet on over to Maui and just go on the beach. Because if you haven't it's the one place in the world where I've felt the most comfortable just getting in the water without getting any weirdness or anything. It's just warm, beautiful serenity, instant balance. All right. So that would be Maui.
Nice.
It does. But then if I was to then end the night, it would probably be some sort of jam or goon squad or Glam Nation or Starfuckers or Other White Meat, one of these bands that obviously that we
Dad's Porno Mag, Mom's Rubber Fist,
jam band. Like I'm saying, I would end the night in some sort of club, rock and roll, dingy club with a bunch of guests coming up, and you're on stage with all your buds that you've played with for years. You're playing the international set list. So I think that's a good way to close it out. And that could be, wow. I mean, we just had a really good one at what's that pizza place in Sydney where we had the guys in what was that? Something Alfred's Pizza, I believe it was called. I think it was called Alfred's Pizza, or maybe it's something else. But small club, or the place in Birmingham, Alabama, was the Nick. Do a gig at the Nick in Birmingham, Alabama. The Nick. Oh my God, that's a Quentin Tarantino movie come to life, and you just have it with all your band members coming up and everybody jamming, and then, or maybe it could be somewhere in Gothenburg, Stockholm, or Sweden, like Sticky Fingers at my buddy Manko's club when he had that. That was a really good night. We had a lot of good jam nights.
You have such a good memory.
Do you understand that the reason I'm talking to you right now, as I think you can literally see the brain neurons clicking and going, oh, that happened. Yes, that happened. Because 9 times out of 10, I forget everything. But this is good because I should do more Pink Sock podcasts because I remember more shit.
Well, people.
Is there a heated debate on the chat? Frankie's Pizza. Sorry, guys. It's Frankie's Pizza. And wait a second. Is there a heated cheese debate going on in the chat? So that's what I love about it.
I didn't. Cheddar is a type of cheese made near where I live in the UK. Not sure what an international version would be called. Cheddar.
called cheddar. Yeah, pretty much across the board. It's actually the only cheese that is stuck. Is that because there's blue? I think there's blue, Swiss, cheddar, Monterey Jack, maybe.
Monterey Jack. There's American, but nobody wants to eat American if they have the other choices.
Are you talking about the Kraft with the in the plastic?
With the plastic.
You know what? There's certain nights that there's Velveeta.
Velveeta.
Love it.
So I got another question from Cathy's husband.
Okay, Cathy.
Hello, Ashley here from The Stereotypes. Hi Mike, hi Ryan. My question for Ryan Roxie is, what is your favourite format to release material on? Would it be CD, digital download, vinyl? So come on Ryan, tell us, what's your favourite format to release material on and why? Okay, bye.
Wow, that sounded a little mildly rehearsed. I enjoy. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate the question. It's kind of twofold because one, I got one foot stuck in the old school, one foot stuck in technology, because I do love what technology is able to do. But I love releasing on vinyl. I'm very lucky to have been able to do that with the first album I ever put out, which was Electric Angels. Excuse me. And I've been able to do it with a number of my albums. The majority of the albums I've put out have all come out on vinyl at this point, luckily, because Alice Cooper, get to ride those coattails, and he has that sort of clout that all his records are out on vinyl. The last two records that I've been associated with my solo stuff, Roxy 77, Amerisweet, and also Imagine Your Reality, are all out on vinyl. So I would say vinyl is one definite favorite. And the other is YouTube, because I think Gustav Kronfeldt, that does our lyric videos, just kicks ass. He's so good at doing these lyric videos, and I love giving him that sort of artistic freedom to sort of come up with, if I have an idea or he comes up with an idea, we brainstorm, then he makes these really cool lyric videos, and Gustav has made the majority of them off of Imagine Your Reality. Dave Rattenberry actually made one, and Vic Chalfant had a hand in it as well. So off the last one, which was Hearts in Trouble.
They're badass music videos, so I applaud
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Like, if you haven't seen them or you're having to revisit them, because the other day I was putting together some sort of sizzle reel, I guess that's what they call in the podcast biz. We'll learn about that, right? Just ways of getting more people to watch. But it was like, I was going through some of the old videos that Gustav have done out of off of Imagine Your Reality, and I revisited Me Generation. Just recently I revisited Nevermind Me, because he made 3 different videos for that, and I was really happy with it. So I mean, if you haven't checked out any of my videos off of any of the videos that I've done, it's on my YouTube channel, official YouTube channel. So go look at you, man. That's a Vic Chalfant playbook. That's right out of the Vic Chalfant playbook. I love it. Are those all my things?
That's
I think.
all.
Okay, it's at Ryan Roxie, at Ryan Roxie official, or Roxy 77 or whatever. I think at Facebook is just at Ryan Roxie as well, and YouTube is at Ryan Roxie official. I just pulled them straight from the websites. So okay, well then my websites are all fucked up.
How did Snowfall Boy come about? I was wondering.
Snowfall Boy? Doesn't Snowfall Boy sound like someone that you'd like to be friends with? Who are you friends with? Snowfall Boy. Because he could be like this really, like, he could be like a really effeminate hairdresser, or he could be a badass drug dealer, or he could be in prison.
Or a South Park
Snowfall
character.
Boy doesn't know, Yes, he's Snowfall Boy. Yeah,
South Park character.
Fucking rip your eye out. He'll fucking stab you in the motherfucking neck.
So that was just a random thing you thought of?
Yeah. And there's still people talking about cheese on there. I can't believe it. Provolone. Dude,
Do you have a new
let it go with the cheese. All right. The cheese discussion is officially closed. There will be no more talk about cheese on this podcast for the duration of Well, shit, we're going for an hour. I got to get going pretty soon.
Okay, I got a couple more, and then
Okay, cool. No worries. It's just because I got to get ready for the guys to come over tonight. We're gonna have I got to prepare alcohol because I'm not cooking tonight. they're bringing over food, and I just have to get ready to, I think we're gonna have a it's a cool thing to do on my night. Yeah, and I will answer these questions, of course. But the thing is, tonight we're gonna play probably Spotify roulette. And if you guys don't know what Spotify roulette is, you can do it with YouTube as well. YouTube roulette. And basically you give someone the remote control. They're in charge of putting in whatever music video or whatever song you want. And then that's their chance to educate you. And then you pass it on to the next person and they do the same. And I found so many new bands that way. So there you go. Next concert leg, though. We need another leg, Kinga. I believe that we do. And guess what? We have top people working on it right now. We have. I actually had a phone call with Germany earlier, so we might actually have a show in Germany at one point.
Nice. So. We had another comment that popped up, and I was wondering myself. Do you have any new music coming?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know what? I've been so friggin' busy with Kickstarter, with System 12, getting the guitar lessons out there, with fulfilling all the stuff for Kickstarter, like, handwriting lyrics, teaching guitar lessons, getting people all motivated with that. Every other moment these days is put into the podcast. But every once in a while, I get to pick up the guitar and lose myself in the guitar. And I have come up with some ideas that I want to put out and record. When's a good time to do it? I know there's no time like the present, but yeah, hopefully before the end of the year, I'll put a few songs out for sure.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And the next question from the Pink Sock Talk, since we've been veering around, which is awesome because I enjoy our conversation because it's.
I've enjoyed being on here. Yeah, you've actually made me remember a lot of things that I thought I might have forgotten for the rest of my life. So,
well, we should do a part 2 in a few months then. Rekindle.
Leave the door open for part 2. Man, you're good. You have been watching my podcast. That's right. I love it.
Yeah. We've got from Jonathan Stanley, a friend of mine in the band Storm Dragon. Of all the albums you've been on, which one are you most proud of?
Wow, that's a hard question. Mr. Stanley, because
not related to Paul.
I know, but you know what? Lily McCartney isn't related to Paul McCartney, but I like to insinuate. You have to always insinuate that maybe she is. Maybe he is. You don't know. The family lines of the tree of life. Well, being proud. I'm pretty proud to actually be on any record. That I can. That gets released and people listen to. I am, for different reasons, I'm proud of the first Electric Angels album. I thought we really worked hard, a lot of work, a lot of years, a lot of rewriting songs and recording them and really, really putting in the work and effort to make the best album we thought we could at the time. And I thought it ended up, I'm proud to listen to it to this day. First Electric Angels album. First Dad's Porno Mag album. I love the debut albums, of course, but I mean, man, it's hard. It's a tough one because Slash's Snakepit Ain't Life Grand is one of those albums that I think everybody should listen to, and I don't think that enough people have. And album. Morning was just listening to a live version of Rod Jackson and the rest of the guys. It was when Carrie Kelly was in the band. I saw a YouTube clip of Mean Bone, and he was so good. What a good singer. What a great singer. Fucking what a powerful live voice. And the band was killing it. They were at some festival, outdoor festival. It was on Facebook this morning, so I watched it, and I really brought me back to being proud of that album. But then the Casablanca records that I did here in Sweden, especially the first one, Apocalyptic Youth. If you haven't checked out that's one part of my musical sort of inner venture that I don't talk too much about is Casablanca. But that first album, Apocalyptic Youth, is produced by Chris Laney. Just fucking Anders Jung. What a great vocalist in his own right. But those songs are cool, and we had female drummer named Josephine Forshman who just killed it on it. So yeah, you can check out some Casablanca videos. I'm proud of those as well.
So I'm going to go back to Slash's Snakepit real quick, because on Ain't Life Grand, there was a bonus track called Rusted Heroes. You played lead guitar on it. How did that come about in Slash's band? Normally, he's the lead guitarist.
Yeah. I got a couple bars of soloing at the end of The Moment as well. I got my moment in the song called The Moment. It's, if you listen to the very end, there's like this sort of Noel Gallagher sort of outro solo, and that's yeah, those 4 bars are me. But Rusted Heroes, yeah, did I get a solo in that? Wow, okay, cool. I must have
you were the second. They were still singing during it, but it was technically.
Oh, okay. Slash must have lost a bet somehow. I must have fucking won at something. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, it was pretty upfront of like who is the lead guitar player in Slash's Snakepit. It's kind of a no-brainer. But at the same time, I will always respect Slash for giving me that freedom. You know, basically all the guitar parts that are coming out of the left speaker were my parts, and they're my playing, and so I always tried to complement his parts and his playing. So I feel that, you know, we were a good guitar duo together. We meshed together well, and yeah, it was actually a very cool experience. It was a fucking wild experience to when I think about it. I mean, just that drive from Beverly Hills where he lived to West Hollywood where I lived, I think was a nightly gamble, roll of the dice if we were going to make it home without getting arrested. So yeah, that experience in my life was, in that point in my life, it was pretty wild, but at the same time, it was something that I wouldn't change. And I'm happy.
Awesome.
The album actually reflects a lot of that energy and sort of craziness.
So short answer is Slash lost a bet.
Might have been. Yeah, I don't know how the fuck I got a solo off that record, but as you could tell, it didn't make the American release. It was like released in Indonesia probably or something.
Japan.
Okay,
it was released.
Perfect. I'm huge in Japan.
Me too. And other. YouTube tells me other. They say United States, Japan, other. I have 2 more for you, buddy, and then I'll let you get back to your friends and get to that party.
You got it.
So Officer B posted a video, and you should have known that I was going to call you out on this.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. We're not paying for it. Each does it to be changing order to more construction going. So one of the money, one of the stats goes to charity, and then he gets to do the other 2. So now, this is so, dude. This is so dangerous.
You gotta rotate it. Get it right in there. Right on fire.
At least be so.
Right in there.
We were hoping that bad was like for us.
And you put it right in the fire. Get it in the flame. There you go.
You gotta get it on fire, dude.
Yeah, you gotta set it up.
Get it up. Turn it this way, Ryan. Point it downwards. Down.
Yeah. Put it
No. Leave.
So have you never made
Is there anybody watching now at this point? Is it just me and you? Because I would imagine most people like, they're roasting marshmallows. I'm fucking bailing. I'm out of here. Oh man.
But have you never roasted a marshmallow before then? Is that something you don't do in Sweden?
That's the way you roast marshmallow. You know what Gorak was saying, be sto blanco, be all, burn it? You want to burn it to the ground? No.
Gives it that caramel taste.
No, the there's a difference between carcinogenic coal black burn and like a nice brown sort of hue, like a nice brown crispiness. And that's what I try to do. I try to make it kind of like brown M&Ms, like not dark M&Ms, not the black M&Ms, but my favorite color of M&Ms was always that lighter brown color, which is very rare for the M&Ms. I know most people think that green M&Ms make you horny. No, it's the light brown ones that really, really do the trick because they're the rarest of them, all of them. Kind of like, I know it's politically incorrect to say the word mulatto these days.
Pink Sock Podcast, you're on
mixed, but it's a mixed M&M, and it's a light brown, and that's my favorite. Just so you guys know.
You just said it's not politically correct, but you're on Pink Sock Podcast. It's okay.
That is true.
So Since you said brown M&Ms make you horny, I have a little segue for that. You're like, oh no. This is the people's question. I've had this asked to me. It's a question I've asked guests in the past. It's the Pink Sock Podcast. We have to ask something off the wall. So, what is the weirdest porn you've watched?
It's not the weirdest, but I actually, if you can comb it down, and I know which ones there are. I think the company was called Private. That's all I can tell you is that it's private. But Dad's Porno Mag, aptly enough, did some sort of. It's credited as doing the theme music and sort of the background music for porno. So I've actually done pornographic film soundtrack.
I'm going to edit that and get rid of the soundtrack part and just have you say, I did pornographic films.
That's my gotcha moment, right? That's right. That's how you tagged it. So yeah, I mean, dude, weirdest porn you've watched. I mean, that's like
there's a lot.
Yeah, you can. All you have to do is just go into, all you have to do is type in the sort of websites, of your choice, the website's address, and the weirdest porn comes up right away on their homepage. So it's just like it just gets weirder and weirder. What is weird, by the way, folks? I mean,
you want to know what the best answer I've gotten on this show?
What?
This guy saw this video of this woman, and the guy stretched her ass open and poured milk in and Fruit Loops and just started eating.
Kid stuff. That's kid stuff.
I mean, I've been washing dishes this whole time. I could have just.
Yeah, I mean,
you toured with Manson. You've seen worse.
Well, the thing is, I mean, all that kind of kinky stuff. It's like there's probably a website dedicated. So if you think you're the only person out there that's into anal and milk Fruit Loops, you're not alone. There's like a big, there's probably a big forum and sort of a Facebook page that you can join for those types of people. So everyone's kind of for every single fetish that you might have, that there's a Facebook page for it. So
welcome to Ryan's
my whole point was, yeah. No. I think more people saw the Fruit Loops in the butt than my TED Talk. But you know what? You're always welcome. My TED Talk's on my official web YouTube page.
There's another
my official porn site.
There's this dude that stuck half his head into a woman's vagina too. That was a good one.
Dude, you seem to be far too into that. You seem to be far more than the guy right now, because I just tried to give you like a little tip of like, I have some soundtrack music in a adult film. All right.
One?
So that's the thing. That's your quest. That is your sort of, for if you wanted to really do a part 2, go find out a clip from see what music it was, I
don't think I can pop that up on the screen though. I already had to censor the show once.
Wouldn't it be funny if the theme song was "Smell My Finger"?
I was about ready to say that. But yeah, that's all the questions I had. This was a lot of fun. There are people calling for a part 2, so I would love to do that as long as you're down.
I'm going to enjoy the rest of my night right now. I'm going to go out and have a nice Saturday night. Those are all apparently correct links, but basically, if you just go on to ryanroxie.com, you can find all that kind of stuff and all my proper links and stuff. And of course, you know me, I'm always lurking on the old Instagram. And next Tuesday, Mike Fasano will be on In the Trenches. I know you'll be there. Thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate it, man. I really do. And everybody's showing up and sticking around on a Saturday, wherever it may be.
And I'll see you guys for part 2 whenever it happens. Thank you for tuning in to the Pink Sock Podcast. And thank you, Ryan, for being a part of this.
Awesome job, dude. Have a good one, man.
Live long, rock hard.
And enjoy the ride.